This is the Voice of Solutioners. This week, we speak to David Passiak.
Good evening, everyone. JLo here, live from Kotao, 1st of January 2017. First of all, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Best wishes, lots of love, lots of happiness for 2017. So today, we have the pleasure to welcome David Passiak on the show of the Voice of Solutioners. David helped us over the last year to shape our concept of co-creation, and he really helped us to make this innovation camp here in Thailand a success. But what's really special about David is that in the last months, actually, he has released a book called Empower. But first, David, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
So my name's David Passiak. I'm an author of 3 books. My most recent book, Empower: How to Co-Create the Future, just came out a couple weeks ago. I specialize in innovation, collaboration, co-creation, and helping different organizations from startups to big companies to nonprofits co-create solutions, transform their organizations, and help to empower their employees, as well as help to empower their customers or their audiences to do better things. I think my basic sort of philosophy is that through collaboration and sharing, you get more people's input. Getting more people's input allows you to accelerate innovation, come up with new ideas, and do things faster and better.
That's really fantastic.
Yeah.
And how do you see that the future of co-creation is going to help us shape us the world in the next decades? Because in the end, by 2050, we're going to be 9 billion on this planet. So it's a no-brainer. We really need to learn how to collaborate together. We need to learn how to work together. So how do you really see the concept that you have been pouring into this book is going to help us to achieve this goal?
So there's this idea that I like to talk about sometimes, which is that technology acts like training wheels for shifts in behavior. And so what I mean by that is,
that's great.
you think like, I have this device, right, this smartphone, and I can talk to anyone in the world. I can access any type of information. And all of these things are at my fingertips, right? And so when you hold this in your hand, all of a sudden you're no longer just one isolated person. It's no longer just you and me, right? In Koh Tao in Thailand right now. All of a sudden we're actually, through this device, we're able to build connections and reach people all over the world. And I think there's this idea that technology and innovation acts like training wheels for shifts in behavior. So the more that we use technology, the more that we are connected, the more that we start to think about helping each other, to collaborate and share. So there's a way in which we start thinking, for example, like money is not as important to me. I want to do something that has an impact on the world. I want to improve people's lives. I want to have an impact. And so there's a way in which, when I think about the future and co-creating the future, part of it is using technology, but part of it is also that technology acts like training wheels for these broader shifts in behaviors and building communities and stuff like that.
That's really cool. So basically what we're seeing too is that the rise of innovation and technology has really also brought us more together and will help us to facilitate this shift to live together with more and more people on this planet.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So now you released your book. Maybe I would like to know more also, what are your favorite chapters and why? What would you like to share with our listeners?
So also, I mean, in the spirit of collaboration and sharing, I have also made my book entirely available by donation. Because one of the things for me
really cool.
is that I'm trying to empower, especially I do a lot of work in emerging markets or opportunity markets, places like Bangkok or in Macedonia, Bulgaria, Eastern Europe, places where the average salary is significantly lower than in Silicon Valley or London, for example. And so it was very important to me that instead of pricing, if I price my book at $15 to $20 which would be the normal retail price for it, that's way too expensive for someone who might only be making $400 or $500 per month. And so my idea is that in the spirit of collaboration and sharing, I made the entire book available by donation. So I certainly appreciate any support from people who can afford to give, but it's my way of giving back and kind of living by example.
Yeah, exactly. You're really leading by example. That's beautifully said. And then talking about this week a little bit, like we are spending now 9 days in Thailand with the objective to co-create solutions for the Thai social enterprises. Like, what do you think about our process? Because in the end, it's a first iteration here in this innovation camp. We're aiming to scale the process to other developing countries. What do you think about this process? How do you see we can improve on this? Or?
You know, I mean, my experience, it's been so amazing over the past week. You know, you think of, so there's about 40 people coming from all over the world, and then we have 3 different Thai local social impact ventures that we're working with. So 40 people who have never met each other, working with 3 local social impact ventures who have never met each other, all of us coming together. And there's a way in which, you know, our goal is to really kind of help them to collaborate and co-create and come up with ideas and go from the first time they meet in 1 week, we go from 40 strangers who go on visit sites of these local ventures to coming up with an idea of how they can help them out, to creating an actual working prototype. And it's just been it's been so cool over the past week. You know, it's like you cannot plan and control for these things, right? Like it's sort of it's a living example of this idea of the power that's within all of us, the power within the group of these 40 people to come together and create things that are going to have hopefully a lasting impact.
Yeah, I think in the end, I mean, it may sound cheesy, but our name is Serendipia, and one of the biggest catalyst of innovation is actually serendipity, and what we are trying by creating those collectives of very different people in very different places with a lot of different interactions and experiences.
Yeah.
The aim is also really to catalyze and put more serendipity into our life and into this world for the better, right? To really help.
And it really, you know, I try and, I mean, again, I mentioned I try to live it by example, but like, you know, my last book, Disruption Revolution, I offered it by donation, and within 2 weeks of the book coming out, a team in Dubai encountered my book, and next thing you know, I had a job offer to be head of innovation and research for Dubizzle, which is like the eBay or Craigslist of the Middle East.
Wow!
With this book, it's been only 2 weeks since the book came out, and we really haven't done much promotion. It's just been kind of a soft launch to friends and family. And within 2 weeks of the book coming out, I was invited to teach a session for the Executive MBA program for the Berlin School of Creative Leadership, and I'm also working to co-teach an online course with Hyper Island, which are 2 of the leading innovation and creativity schools in Europe. And I also
congratulations, David.
And then in addition to that, I also met this guy Benjamin Butler, who's the founder of the Emerging Future Institute, and he had me as a host. He had me on to do a webinar. Now we're already planning. We're working on the possibility of a bunch of programs for next year, and this is all just by putting it out there. You know, I never would have been able to reach those people if the book was just on Amazon, right? Someone buys it on Amazon, or they buy somewhere. I don't know who those people are. So there's a way in which this, I mean, there's serendipia, but there's also, you know, serendipity is kind of people coming together, but we can also use these tools and create programs that really accelerate these types of connections, right?
What kind of programs, like, you mean by giving this book?
By giving the book, or I think of of Serendipia, like what we did here. Like this was the first time we had, you know, 40 people and 3 local ventures, social impact ventures, and then we come out of this and everyone is so excited and everyone has all of these ideas of how we could do things in the future. And now we go from doing one event in Bangkok to maybe we do events all over the world next year, and there's a way in which we can start building.
That's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan, right? So you take serendipity and from being just kind of this thing that happens in life to it becomes a global movement, right?
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And so maybe we would like also to know more about your visions for the future. Because during one of our opening talks, and the Serendipia forum we had in the Rise Academy here in Bangkok, David made us a talk that we're gonna share on the Serendipia page anyway, about how his visions for the future and about co-creation innovation. So he even showed us a very interesting videos.
So I've been working in innovation for maybe 10 or 12 years, but my background before that, I used to study religious movements. So I actually did a PhD studies at Princeton, and I looked at things like the 60s counterculture and the civil rights movement. And I think one of the things that, the thing about innovation is a lot of times we think so much about innovation in terms of technology. We don't think of it so much in terms of this power that comes from within us, and the power of human connection. And so when I think about the future and what we're trying to do is we're really trying to think about the future of humanity and co-creation like we're building a movement, right? We have, for example, in the next 10 to 20 years, another 3 billion people coming online for the first time.
Wow, that's impressive.
I mean, it's just...
So many opportunities.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities for the world to become even more and more and more connected. And at the same time, of course, we're seeing around the world pushback against that, and people saying, "Oh, I need to sort of keep by myself." There's a way in which we just have to keep moving forward and keep thinking, being optimistic and hopeful about the future.
Yeah, absolutely, which fits very well with our vision to
Yes.
create collectives around the world for a happier, more
Yeah.
positive, and more sustainable future.
Yeah.
For environment and beings as well. So yeah, that was very fantastic. Maybe
Yeah.
David, one last thought for our listeners and viewers here. What will be your solution of the day? 1st of January 2017.
My solution of the day, oh boy. I think the thing that I would say is that, because I think within a lot of, especially within Silicon Valley, there's this idea that you have to have the big breakthrough idea that changes everything. And a lot of times people get so caught up in this idea of, oh my God, you know, I have to have the app that becomes the next Instagram or whatever. I have to do something that's going to, you know, change billions of people's lives or something. And I think the solution of the day, I would say, is find something within your community that you can do. Think of something, you know, it could be as simple as, you know, building a simple app or helping a local organization, or come up with look at yourself and think of what your skills are, how you can add value, and what you can do in your local community that can have an impact. And start somewhere small, because a lot of times it's the small things that lead to whole worlds changing.
Well, that's really inspiring.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, David.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This has been an absolutely incredible week here.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It has been fantastic. It's not finished. 3 days to go. Tomorrow morning we're gonna head back to Bangkok, and on the 3 in the evening we're gonna present our solutions that we have been co-creating during the past week. This was here, the Voice of Solutioners, live from Koh Tao, 1st of January 2017, to rockstar the year here at the Innovation Camp. David Passiak here. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
And see you soon. Cheers.
Let's co-create the future.
Yeah, very well said. Bye, guys. Cheers. Lots of
Bye-bye.
love. Bye.
This has been the Voice of Solutioners, presented by Serendipia. To stay up to date, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/serendipialife. Thanks for watching.